Hi, I'm Moritz Müller and this is my OneCoin routine. Hi, I'm Moritz. Thanks for picking up this download. I will be explaining my OneCoin routine. And first I would like to talk a little bit about the construction of this routine and the goals I wanted to achieve. So this routine was designed to be just pure sleight of hand and not really any fancy gimmicks or anything like that. It's just pure sleight of hand, and I think that makes a really nice routine. You can also show it to laymen because I think everyone can appreciate this very pure sense of this routine. So now a little bit about the construction. You can see, like in the beginning, I just make coins vanish and disappear, and then the effects I do expand, and there are more effects I do, like the coin travels a lot, and there's like spider vanishes and all kinds of different stuff and different effects. So I think this routine really expands and gets better and better and better. And so for the end, I will just do a complete vanish because I think that really adds to the pure sense of this routine. And I really hope you like this download. And even if you don't do the whole routine, I think there will be like little parts you can add to your own routines, or just little handlings I do that maybe can help you in your own routines. So this is the explanation for my OneCoin routine. And so in the beginning of the routine, the coin starts off in the classic palm of the left hand. And so for the beginning, I wanted to do a hand washing sequence, but I don't really like most of the options out there because I feel like most of the time everybody knows that there's something there, you just can't see it. So I wanted something that's a little more natural. So I don't ever touch this palm because there's this option, and it's based on that, but I don't really like touching this palm here because I feel like it's unnatural for me. So it's in the classic palm of the left hand, and I do essentially this hand washing sequence, but just without the thumb, in a little different motion. So it's here, then I show this hand empty, and then as I gesture to this hand, I do this motion. So I'll just let the coin drop into the other hand, and from here I go this way and then up. I just go up with the middle finger on my palm like this to just play the hand empty. Then I reach into the air over here, and then I do a production I like very much. It's the Korn production by Chris Korn. But before I do that, I load the coin from the classic palm of my right hand into the finger palm of my left hand, just like this. So I grab here, and then as I take over the invisible bit of nothing, I load it in, just like this, into finger palm. So by the way, I do the more Homer Lewek style finger palm, which is where you curl in the ring finger slightly. So it's kind of like a mixture between nowhere palm and finger palm, so like this. Then I go over here, and I just close the hand around it. That way the coin comes directly between my index finger and my thumb, just like this. And then I open my fingers one at a time. It's very important that when you do this production, the coin is not like this, because it needs to be like this so there's more space the spectator can see. Because that's one of the interesting things about coins, is that it's very thin, but it has like big space you can see. So it's much more astonishing when you see a lot of the coin right in the beginning. So after that I do a retention vanish, and this is my version of the retention vanish with not much movement. I have the coin resting on my thumb, just like this, and then I kind of press it slightly against the rest of my hand like this, and then I pull in like this, because I think it's good when you can use gravity to your advantage, when you just pull it in like this, and it's kind of slightly turned like this. So it's very easy to just pull in and put it into a finger palm with not a lot of motion. So you can just practice this, and when you're done it can look something like this. So it's very little movement in the hand when you do the retention vanish. So I go over here, and I close my hand around it, and that motion I palm the coin over here, and then I do this vanish. I don't like to drop this hand down, because I feel like it's better if it's in view. So I use the Ramsey subtlety also with the more Homer Lewek style palm in this motion. So when the spectator would be over there, it's impossible to see, because the coin is blocked by your middle finger and your ring finger, like this. Once again, like this, you do the retention vanish, and then I like to vanish the coin like this. So I like to do the vanish not like this, because it has to look similar to the left hand, like this. So I do a very similar motion in both hands, so the coin is more hidden and it's a more natural movement for both hands, like this. So after that I do a production between both of my hands. It's where I come together, and then I like to produce the coin right here at my fingertips. So to achieve that, I go down with my hand slightly, because that makes the production a lot easier. And you can go just over here, and then just kind of like they drop into this motion. So you have to do very little work, because the coin naturally falls there, like this, down, and then you push it slightly, but you don't need much movement, and then you can produce a coin like this. So once again, from here to here, like that. So after that I wanted to do a vanish with the back thumb palm, because I feel like the back thumb palm is a very underused technique. And I think the reason for that is that some of the techniques to get into back thumb palm aren't very natural. So a lot of people would do this and then go from here into back thumb palm, which is a very unnatural movement in my opinion. So what I like to do is just this. I have the coin here, and then as I pretend to grab it, I have my middle finger slightly behind the coin and my index finger in front of the coin. So I just let it lever down like this, and then from here it can just drop right down here and will stay here. So in this motion, you're in a perfect position to just go right back into the back thumb palm. So once again, from here, just let it drop down, and then when you're here, I did the vanish, and I don't like to have this display all the time because I feel like it gives away some of that. So what I like to do is I have the coin in this position for a long time, then I make it vanish, and then I just flash this hand slightly like this, and then I go right back into this position. So then after that I do a production at my fingertips, and I go over with my hand, and then I grab the coin here, and then I turn over my hand, so this is seen empty, and then I just make the coin produce like this. This is very important at this point, that this hand moves to this hand instead of this hand moving to this hand, because that would kind of give it away. So you go from here to here, then you take it, and then you can just produce a coin like this in this very nice waving motion, which looks very good in my opinion. So after that I do a vanish into JW grip. It's kind of similar to the Wolf vanish by Brenton Wolf, but instead of having it right in the balanced palm position, right over here, I like to have the coin right at my fingertips like this, because I feel like then it's a more natural grabbing position than over here. And I also think that the steel after that looks a lot better. So I can show this hand empty, and then I go to steal it into JW grip from this position. So I go over here, and then I take my middle finger, and it should kind of mimic this shape right here. So like this, so this the index finger is almost invisible. So it's very easy at this point to just go up with the thumb and go down with the index finger, and from there you can go right into JW. Of course it's a little bit unnatural when the coin is here, supposedly here, to go over here. So what I like to do is just this very quick motion of kind of looking for the coin like this. So it's not really grabbing from the beginning, it's kind of smooth motion like this. And after that I like to snap a little bit so it's invisible. So because I feel like every time so I feel like when you have the coin in JW for too long, it kind of gives away the position. So I want to change the angle slightly. So what I do is I have my middle finger right over here, and so I can kind of lever down this coin like this. As I've turned invisible and grab it over here, I can just get this coin down slightly. So this is not a position that is similar to the one before. So when you go from here, then I do the coin production again. So I load it this time from JW grip, from here to here. But this time I didn't want to do the same coin production. So what I do is when I'm here, I go with this hand like this. So the coin is covered by your thumb, and you pretend to hold it right here at your fingertips. So it's from here to here, and it's also important that here also not the fingers move, but the hand moves. And then from here you can produce it very fair, because it's a very different technique than what I used before, but with the same effect. It looks the same, but it's a different technique which helps with the illusion. So from here I close the hand, and this right here will push the coin up like this, in a perfect position for you to grab it, like this. So it looks like this, up to speed, like this. I steal it out, change the position, go into finger palm, then cover it with my fingers, and then produce. It's a very nice sequence. So after that I do something that is that Gary Kurtz did in his jumbo coin routine, which is where you just do a retention vanish upside down like this. It's kind of the same technique as this one basically, but just in this position. So I grab it from here and then I produce it above the hand. I do this about 3 times, like this, like this, like this. It's basically the same technique, so when you can do it this way, you can also do it this way. This, and then last time, like the 4th time, I just take it right here into finger palm position, into finger palm of this hand, like this, and then you can show this hand empty, you can show this hand empty, and then after that you produce it right here at your elbow, like this, and then you can let it drop into this position. I think it's very important that the contrast from the empty hand to the hand with the coin and finger palm shouldn't be too big, so you should not do this too fair. So I don't open my hand completely, so the contrast isn't as big, because if you did like this, and then with the last time it's like this, it would give it away. So the first times aren't as fair as I could do it. Like this, and then I produce here. So now I will do a sequence that is inspired by Eric Jones, Mirage et Trois, where he has 2 coins and then he makes them jump from here to here to here. But he does it with 2 coins, and I wanted to do it with just 1 coin. So what I do is this, so I let it drop down here, then then pretend to have it over here, and then it's the other way around. So I pretend to vanish it over here, and then produce it over here. Then later I found out that Eric does this same thing in his new routine, Mirage et Trois 2.0, where he does a similar thing. But I feel like that this works better in the context of my routine, because with this vanish in the end, for the end vanish, I just go over here and then I palm it in this motion and show this hand empty and this one as well. So I feel like in the context of this very fast visual routine, it works very nicely. Like this, and then from here I do this vanish, I just let it go in, and then I show this hand empty. I think it's a very nice illusion because it feels like the coin is there. So what I do to really make them feel like the coin should be here is at this point I go over and the weight of my body goes onto my right foot instead of my left foot. So it goes from here to here, and also my focus, I look here, and when my focus is there, the audience focus will be there. After I do that, I produce the coin right over here. So this is pretty much the same thing. You can just do it like this and produce it in a downward style like this. And it also helps because you don't need so much motion when you do it upside down instead of this, because here you need a lot of motion and this way you don't. So after that I do a very nice sequence, which is kind of a spider vanish sequence. But instead of what I always didn't like about spider vanish is that it kind of gives away the concept of false transfer. So that is not what I wanted to do. So I wanted to condition them that the coin travels from here to here. So I just do the same, so I just pull in and pretend to grab it here, and then toss it up, and then I catch it here again, downward facing like this. And so I wanted to condition them with that, and then after that I take the coin over here into JW grip and then toss it up, and then it's not here, but then I produce it here. So it's a very different concept than what is usually used as a spider vanish, because this time it's not like, oh, I pretend it's a false transfer, but it's just I conditioned them before that the coin travels. So let's go over that again. I go from here to here, and this hand is already in JW position, so also it's not a very big contrast. Like this, and then I produce it here, again, like this. And then for the second time I do it, I really take the coin, and then in this motion as I go over, I place it into JW grip. It's an upside down JW grip, and I think it's very funny that magicians are always used to this style of a JW grip, but when it's like this, the mind can't really detect this position, which is very funny. So I go from here to here, from here to here, and then I display that this hand is empty, and at this point the timing is very important. So the timing is like this: throw, catch, throw. It's not here, it's here. So over this, so let's talk about this production. I produce it from upside down, JW. So I just go up, and then I produce it like this. So I open this grip, and then I just push it up essentially. But this upward motion really helps with that, like this. and I think it looks way better if you have the hand completely opened after this production, because it kind of looks like this finger is the index finger thing, and it never changes in this motion, which is very interesting. And it's kind of like the ring thing, you know, with this one, where you change the fingers. But here it's kind of used in a different context, like this. So after I produced a coin here, I wanted to do a complete vanish to end this routine, because I feel like if you produce a jumbo coin, it always takes away from the other effects you did. And I also wanted this routine to be very pure, and there not to be so much props, and it's just one coin. So what I do is I sleeve the coin in the end, and I have two variations for this. I will first show you the one I do most of the time. That is this one. It's kind of similar to the other spider vanishes I did. So I take the coin here. I do the same retention vanish I told you before, and then I open the coin with the hand like this, and then I produce it here. Then I do this again, and then for the third time, I really take the coin, and then I open up my hand, and then I go over here, and there's not the coin. The coin isn't here. And at this point, I just let the coin drop from this classic palm position, but I'm not really classic palming it. I just let it drop into my sleeve like this. And then it's empty here, and then you can show this hand completely empty, and you can end clean. So what you can do at this point is just lock the coin in your sleeve by just pulling back the sleeve, and then the coin is kind of locked in your sleeve like this, and you can't get out. Okay, so that's the first one. And if with dry hands, it works a little bit better to just let this coin slide down your arm. But you have many opportunities to do this, because when you're here, nothing really happens. You have enough time because you can show here, and you can really wait at this point, and there's a lot of time to just to sleeve this coin at this point. You can also as you open your hand, it also you can go as high as you want with your hand, basically. So you can just wait until the coin slides down. So now the other variations is a little bit better for magicians, in my opinion. So I do the same technique to get into back thumb palm as I did before, like this, down to here, and then into back thumb palm. Then I vanish the coin, and then I sleeve the coin from the W position. So I just let the coin go over like this, and then it's kind of on my arm, like on the back of my hand, like this. I go from here to here, and then from this point you can just let it slide down like this, and then you can just do pretty much whatever you want. I just like to turn the coin invisible, and then kind of let it go over here. So on here it's the same thing. You can just roll back your sleeve, and like that you can just lock the coin in your arm. Okay, so at this point I like to do a sequence. I first saw Gary Kurtz did it in his jumbo coin routine, and I like to do a similar thing in my one coin routine. So I pretty much do the same retention vanish I told you before, but this time I do it upside down, like this. I just put it into my hand like this, and the thumb is underneath this hand, because I feel like this way it just isn't as focused. It's like when you do it this way, it's like puck 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 puck, and this way it's smoother, but I think the effect isn't as strong. So I have the thumb underneath the hand like this, and then I just pull in like this, as I told you before, and then I close my hand around like this. Then after that I produce on the top of my hand like this, and you can do this a few times. And then at the end, I just really take the coin in my finger palm position and show it empty like this. It's like an upside down remedy subtlety. Then I show this hand empty, and then you can just produce it right here at your elbow. So I think it's very important that when you do this, you don't show this hand too empty, because then there will be a big contrast between the hand really being empty and having the coin in there. So the contrast shouldn't be so big. So you just do this, and then produce it on top, of course, like this. And then for the last one, you have the same motion, but you show this hand empty, and then you produce it here. Okay, so this is my retention vanish, and so what I do in this retention vanish is that I have most of the weight on my thumb, like this. And I hold the coin like this, but slightly like this, so the gravity just pulls the coin onto my thumb, basically. So then you pull in, and that's how you do the vanish, basically. But there's a little bit more to it than that, because you need to have your other fingers against the coin like this, so it's not like this. So you should really touch the coin, but it's just that most of the weight is on your thumb. So when you practice it a little bit, you can get a lot. There's almost no motion in my hand like this. When you palm it like this. So you pull it in from here into finger palm like that. A lot of people don't want any movement in the hand when you do it. I think there can be some movement, it just has to be the right kind of movement. I believe it's not a problem if you have it here and then you close your hand like this, because I feel like it's a natural action. But for those people who really don't want any motion in the hand, you can just have your fingers curled from the beginning, and then you can just pull it in, and there's really almost no movement in the hand whatsoever. But I feel like it's also good when you just do it like this and you curl in your fingers slightly. Yeah, so when you do this technique and you combine it with grabbing here, it looks very deceptive, like this. Okay, so this is a variation I have when I'm not wearing a jacket, which is like right now it's summer in Germany, and so it's very hot and I don't want to wear a jacket all the time. So what I came up with is that I use these kind of convention bands. They're made out of paper, and so it's a great thing to perform at a magic convention, because you get these bands anyway, but also you can just wear them, and I feel like it's not very unnatural to wear that. So I have it right here. So it should be it shouldn't be too tight. So, but you have to be able to get your hand through it like this, and it should be about like halfway from here to here, and this is a little bit higher, but it's okay. So, but about that, which is also when you look where your arm starts to get a little bit bigger, right here. So this is where it sits. So I basically just sleeve into this band. So there's these two, as I told you before, in the with the sleeve, there's two variations I do. With this one, I most of the time only like to do the first one because it's a little bit safer, but you can also practice the other one, and you can also do it, but it's just not as secure. So once again, let's go over this vanish again with the thing. It's basically the same thing, just instead of sleeving it, you just let it drop right inside of the band like this, and then the coin is right in your band. You should it should be as tight as possible, so you don't want to have it here, because then it makes more noise, and there's also a danger of the coin just falling through. So what you want to have is like this, and you can just bend it up slightly. So you don't want it, sometimes when you practice it, the coin will go here and then it will bend slightly here, so you always have to kind of bend it back if you want that. So like this to here, and sometimes it just rests on the band, but that's also fine. You just can't move the hand in this way too much, but it's still okay. So you can just do this, like this, and for the last vanish you just let it drop down, and then it's in the band just like that. So for the other vanish, the one from the back thumb palm, it's not as secure, and I don't do it when I perform a lot of the time, but sometimes I do. So this is what it looks like. I take the band, I do the same back thumb palm vanish, I go over here, and then you can just let it drop right into the band. It's also possible, but I didn't feel so secure when I do it. Okay, so this is the cleanup for the vanish into the convention band. So when you're here or here, depending on what vanish you want to do, if you do the back thumb palm vanish, you will end up somewhere here, and if you do this vanish, you will end up somewhere here. So one technique that works for both of these vanishes is that you just go over here and adjust your band. slightly, you can just steal it out. It kind of depends on the way the coin sticks in there, but you don't really have any specific technique. You just take it out pretty much, because it's also, the routine is finished and everyone relax, and you can steal it off like that. And this technique also works when you do this, when you do the vanish from back thumb palm. So what I also do sometimes is that I just lower my hands after the routine, and then I cover my hand. Okay, so you take it out like this, and that is pretty much how I end my routine. Okay, so that was the explanation for my one coin routine, and I really hope you liked it and you got something out of this. And I know it's some parts are a little bit hard, but I think they're really worth it practicing them. And when they're done well, I think they are very magical and very nice sequences. And so even if you don't want to do the whole routine, that's fine, but I think there will be something you can take from this download. And so I really hope to see some of you at a convention someday maybe, and please don't hesitate to ask me anything about this routine.